जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम ओम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम ओम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम ओम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम 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 ओम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम ओम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम ओम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम 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 श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम
श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम श्री जय राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम. No, let them sing, no? Sri Ram, anything, huh? Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. 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 Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Jai Jai Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram
Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram.
Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram
Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram.
Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram
Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram.
Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram
Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram.
Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram
Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram.
Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram
Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram Shivam. Om Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram. Om Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram. Om Om Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram. Om Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram. Om Om Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram. Om Om Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram. Om Om Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram. Om Om Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram Om Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram Om Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram Om Om Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram Om Om Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram Om Om Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram Om Om Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram Om Om Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram Om Om Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram Om Om Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram Om Om Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram Om Om Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram Om Om Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram Om
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. 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 Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om. Pranam, Pranam, Pranam.
స్వామిజీ చిన్న శ్లోకం పట్టుకెళ్ళవా స్వామిజీ?
సాంగ్
చిన్న శ్లోకం పట్టుకెళ్ళమా, చిన్న ప్రార్థనా శ్లోకం పట్టుకెళ్ళా స్వామిజీ. శాంతస్వరూపా సచ్చిదానంద స్నేహ విదాత గురు మహారాజా భవతో శరీరే త్యాగస్మరణ దివసే ప్రణమామహే వయం అస్మాకం అహంకార నాశాయ. ఓ సచ్చిదానంద మహారాజ్, you are the embodiment of calmness and serenity. You are the guru and giver of love to all. This commemorative day of your giving up the physical form, we prostrate at your feet and pray to you to destroy our ego once and for all. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Hari Om Swami.
Hari Om, Hari Om. So today is our Puja Swamiji's Hari Om, Hari Om. Today our Puja Swamiji's 14th Mahasamadhi Day. Yesterday we were sharing some thoughts about it. His life and the teachings are before us. So today is a day when we try to dwell more on it. Yesterday, as we said, a small booklet has been brought out at the time of his centenary, entitled The Silent Sage, where 10 topics were taken and what Swamiji said, what should be our approach to those 10 subjects. That has been brought out in the small booklet. We were reading a few quotations from that. Before we enter into it, we will try to read some more of his words of wisdom. He says human birth is a gateway to liberation. Having taken birth, we are also endowed with intellect. Using the intellect, we find there is something higher than what the world can give us. We can get happiness depending upon certain conditions. That happiness is always followed by sorrow. Our intellect tells us that there is something more than this, which is called eternal happiness. Then we start trying for it. That is the vocation, the turning point in our life to return home. Then the efforts to go back home begin. We come in contact with a wise man who knows the truth. He tells us how to go back. He asks us to meditate on our true being or any other method that will lead us to our original home. In that process, we purify ourselves, meaning our mind gets purified. All those desires are dropped off. All the effects of the desires are dropped off. Effects of our actions are also dropped off. The mind becomes perfectly still. When it is perfectly still, we have a glimpse of our true being. When it is perfect, by further efforts to remain in that state continuously, we get established in that state, which is our real home, our own self. We go back as naked as we started from there. That is the condition to shed all that you have earned during your journey. Then we are qualified to enter our home. So it's a trip back to our original. No? Spiritual journey is nothing but going back to our real home. Whatever methodologies we use, if this is clearer, it is clearer to us, probably our sadhana also will become more and more effective. So that means when we chant God's name, so many concepts may be there in our mind, but here Swamiji simply puts it in simple words. It is all an effort to go back home, to our original nature. So we, along with our Ramnam, we also pray, you gave us a life, sense of individuality. You provided us so many things. We were playing with it, we were getting involved in it. We got immersed in it. Sometimes we cried, sometimes we laughed, sometimes we lost, sometimes we gained. Sometimes it was positive, sometimes it is negative. With all these, when we observe, it's always between this pendulum. We are caught in that pendulum. And when we are drawn by masters, they say, as long as your sense of individuality identifies the external world as external world, this pendulum experience will continue. Whereas the same exposure will be a source of bliss to us if we take a trip back home. And from that level, when we look at the world, it will be free from these pairs of opposites. So our trip is to go back home. Go back home. This should be very clear to us. All our sadhanas are to go back, our original nature. Just like Papa said, a day will come when you have to shed all and go to meet the eternal in the spiritual nakedness of the soul. No? So here also he says, we go back as naked as we started. From there. This is the condition to shed all that you have earned during your journey. Then we are qualified to enter our home. Once again we will read, it's a good food for thought on an occasion like Puja Swamiji's Mahasamadhi Day. Human birth is a gateway to liberation. Of all the births, we have been blessed with a human birth. Only through a human birth we come to know of the higher ideal, of the real home. All other species are not privileged. So that is why he said it's a gateway. Human birth is a gateway to liberation. Having taken birth, we are also endowed with intellect. Using the intellect, we find that there is something higher than what the world can give us. We can get happiness depending upon certain conditions. That happiness is always followed by sorrows. Our intellect tells us that there is something more than this. Our intellect tells us that there is something more than this. What is that more than this? Eternal happiness. A happiness which is not dependent upon any object, on any person, on any situation. Now, normally happiness is connected to any of these. An object, an individual, a situation. But here the happiness is totally free from these. Puja Swamiji is pointing us. Hey, look here. Don't be satisfied with what is now going on. You have to get back. You have started from your home. And you forgot about it. Okay, then you were subjected to witness and experience so many things. At times it was good, at times it was bad. And then luckily, he made us aware through Shastras, through Mahatmas, that there is a higher life than this. They placed before us what they have, how they have achieved, how they have realized. So slowly we also try, in our own way. Initially we try to follow what has been told to us. And depending upon our intensity and our commitment towards that, mysteriously our own path emerges from within, and we steadfastly pursue. So he says, then we start trying for it. That is the turning point in our life to return home. Then the effort to go back home begins. We come in contact with a wise man or a Mahatma who knows the truth, who has experienced the truth, who has realized the truth. He tells us how to go back. He asks us to meditate on our true being or any other method that will lead us to our original home. So the destination is made clear now. It is not outside, it is inside. In that process, we purify ourselves. What is purification? Desires are dropped off. Effects of the desires are dropped off. Effects of our actions are also dropped off. And the mind becomes perfectly still. When it is perfectly still, we have a glimpse of our true being. By further efforts to remain in that state continuously, we get established in that state which is our real home, our own self. We go back as naked as we started from there. This is the condition to shed all that you have earned during your journey. Then we are qualified to enter our home. Vasanas are the impressions left behind by each and every thought. Every thought and action leaves an impression in our mind. That is why we use the word dirt. We have gathered a lot of dirt. Every thought, good or bad, every action, good or bad, leaves an impression or a layer of dirt in our mind. We can imagine what we have done many years ago, suddenly coming to our mind now. It has been there. All those things have to be removed before we can say that we have shed all that we have earned during our lifetime. Then only we are absolutely pure, free, qualified for liberation. Definitely it takes many years of hard work to purify our mind. It depends upon how much dirt we have gathered. In some cases it is not that difficult because they have not gathered much dirt. When once dirt is like a mountain, it takes a longer time to remove. All the vasanas have to go before we can realize the truth. We must have accumulated them for ages. We come with all those vasanas and may add some more and carry them forward, and it goes on until the whole thing is destroyed. When we have made the mind pure and realize that we are one with the absolute truth, then the vasanas are all destroyed, and this is the only way. So Swamiji is portraying before us the roadblock which denies us our journey towards our real home. Each and everyone will know what are the things that prohibit us, that deny us, that block us in our journey towards our real home. So today is one of the days when we can intensely think about it. Because he chose to talk to us in a language which we can easily understand. Real home, that particular word, you kindly think about it. We have considered our home as this, that, no? We have no idea about our real home. So real home is eternal happiness, the self. That means that which is not coming and going, that which is not dependent upon any objects, any person, any situation. This language we can understand, no? Because the other thing we are experiencing every day. Morning we are very happy, suddenly something happens, we get moody, we get tensed up. Again we feel slightly relaxed, again another thing comes. In the So the traffic of events does.
Our happiness comes without knowing something, because One day I become happy with surprising something. Always comes from the happiness. With surprising happiness, happy feeling comes from the always comes from the.
It all depends upon how do you define happiness, What is happiness for one need not be the happiness for the other. Suppose you are a lover of music, you switch on. Suppose I feel it's a disturbance, So you will define what is happiness. Each one defines.
But surprising is comes from the. Because in the office I am working something. Sometimes I felt very sad and very disturbed. But another time the happiness comes.
You yourself will know, what is happiness. It depends upon, suppose certain persons talk to you, you are happy. Certain things happen, you are happy. But what we are trying to understand is not happiness. This happiness is not a happiness. It is a state of experience where it comes and goes. We are talking of something, we are thinking of something which is ever with us. We have to aim for that. That's what Puja Swamiji asked us to do. We have to aim for that which is always steady. That is why he was able to maintain that equanimity throughout his life. There may be some slight disturbance. It will be on the surface only. But deep within it was always calm and serene. So from his experience, he is telling us that it is all because the absence of vasanas. So we have been asked to think about those things. But one thing is clear, I have to go back to my real home. My real home is a state of bliss, fullness, eternal. Rest of the things are all floating, no doubt. That is the base, and rest of the things are on the surface. At the surface level, there will be tides, stronger, lesser, silent tide, roaring tide, so many things will be there. But deep within, it is all serene. So that is the real home. We are all floating on the surface, not knowing our real home. So Mahatmas, they point out from their experience, what you are floating, it may give you you may name it as happiness or joy, but it comes and goes. But the real thing is inside you, deep within you. That is why he mentioned the word stillness. By further efforts to remain in that state, we have a glimpse. When it is perfectly still, we have a glimpse of our true being. By further efforts to remain in that state continuously, we get established in the state which is our real home, our own self. So vasanas play an important role in blocking us to move towards our real home. The world we see now is full of diversity. We must practice seeing the unifying force, the unifying spirit, that is the substratum for the entire manifestation. That is the self, the reality, God, or whatever name you may give it. Just like in the cinema, the wide screen is the substratum for this manifestation, for whatever name you give it, for this manifestation, and what is going on in this universe is the film, the moving picture. It is always moving, but the screen is permanent, just as the substratum is permanent. If we know that what we see in this world is moving, and if we find that which is not moving, then we have realized the truth, and we do not see the world as such. We see it only as a moving thing within the unmoving, immutable existence. Then the world has a different shape for us. We don't see it as a diversity, rather we see it as one. Anything anybody would like to share? Based on this. Swamiji has shared some thoughts with us. We are trying to dwell on it. So when we keep on dwelling on it, our real home, the vasanas, our efforts, our present life, and what we are doing through our satsang, all these things, then only we are dwelling on the subject. Let us try to intensely go through these words. There is a substratum, and over that there is a superficial, or above them there is movement, and there is a stillness within. That is our real home. All has come out from his own experience. So we are trying to dwell on it more and more. If you have realized, I too can realize. But enable me to realize. You have experienced that stillness. Enable me to experience that stillness. You were able to remove the vasanas. Enable me to remove the vasanas. Something like that, no? Then we are dwelling on the same subject. And when we go deeper, each one, when somebody brings out something, that will also help a push. First of all, we try to understand that there is a substratum within, and the play is on the surface. At least intellectually we can understand. Initially we have to understand it through intellectually only. Because none of us have surrendered ourselves totally to the Almighty. Then all these things are not necessary. If the surrender has completely taken place, then none of these things are necessary. Because to us there is only one. Me the devotee, and he the Lord. That's all. Kindly enable me to take us unto yourself. This is the only prayer. But our intellect does not allow us to easily accept. So that is why we employ these methods. Yeah. We are going to the Silent Sage book, page number 12. Page number 12. My practice in those days, that when I saw anybody, I should see the consciousness in him. Consciousness capital, no? Awareness. Pervading every atom of his body, and I took it that the body was active only because of the consciousness, which is real and not the body. So substratum is consciousness. What is consciousness? Cannot be explained. Awareness absolute. Beyond that we cannot explain. Knowing principle. Beyond that we cannot explain. We are in the waking state. We had last night dream. We had a good sleep, deep sleep. All these were known to us. That knower, who is called as the witness consciousness, who is awareness. So Swamiji says, my practice in those days was that when I saw anybody, I should see the consciousness in him, impersonal aspect, pervading every atom of his body. And I took it that the body was active only because of the consciousness, which is real and not the body. Consciousness is also called the unifying spirit that connects up all the forms in Prakriti into one unit, like the thread that connects up all the beads in a rosary and makes it a single unit which we call rosary. I was charmed by Saint Jnaneshwar Maharaj's statement that Purusha is the gold thread connecting all the gold beads, which are the innumerable forms of Prakriti. Thus he says that Purusha and Prakriti are not different. This practice gave great joy, yet I lacked the feeling I was completely free or liberated. There was something more to be experienced and get established. I used often to repeat, "Oh Lord, you are everything. All the emotions, all the thoughts, all the feelings are you only, as there is nothing but you. You are also beyond everything." Whenever the thought of a person came to my mind, I took him to be not an individual, but a part of the universe, which is the manifestation of God. From early morning, whatever I saw, whatever I touched, I used to say within myself, "This is also your form, O Lord." Thus everything was identified with God. This made me speechless, as the mind was busy engaged in identifying everything and everybody with God and trying to be conscious of the Purusha pervading the entire body of that person or object. So I was cool and calm, enjoying the communion with God in each and every form I saw. I was mistaken to be unwell, and I had to say again and again that I was all right. This is what Papa wanted to convey to us 2-3 days back. He wanted us to identify everything with. So it was suggested that we will try to introduce this element daily in our prayer. My masters say you are everything. But I don't see. I see them everything as separate. Please enable me to evolve a particular path by which I will also be able to see everything as the form of God. Papa chose the method of remembering him through chanting and dwelling on his attributes, and he could scale the heights. I have been chanting also, but I have not been dwelling on the attributes. Once in a way I used to think about it, but it has not taken me anywhere. Like that our prayer, in our own language. We are placing our entire thing before him. Him means that power. Swamiji also later on says, he was unable to hold on to it. So now he is not disheartened. I often used to repeat, "Oh Lord, you are everything. All the emotion, all the thoughts, all the feelings are you only. And there is nothing but you. You are always beyond everything." Whenever the thought of a person came to mind, I took him to be not an individual but a part of the universe, which is the manifestation of God. From early morning, whatever I saw, whatever I touched, I used to say within myself, "This is also your form, O Lord." Thus everything was identified with God. This made me speechless. My effort was to maintain this in all conditions. But as soon as I started talking, the mental condition changed and the thought of God got diluted, and I was back to body consciousness. I was trying to maintain this consciousness even when talking to others at all times. Success was not much. I failed often, but failure did not deter me. At the same time, although I knew and was fully aware of my attainments and shortcomings, some friends expressed that I had realized God and had reached the same age as Papa and Mataji. I had to make it clear to them that I was only on the way, and Papa Mataji are like mountains, and I am like a small pebble. How can you compare me with them? They also used to say that they used to see Papa Mataji in me. All the same, I know where I stood, and took that expression as a mark of their own purity and as a test for me. My life is still a struggle. Struggle to maintain the consciousness of the all-pervading reality, all the 24 hours of the day. It is a struggle, but not a painful struggle. The struggle is to get established in that consciousness. So when I look at a person, I see him or her as pure consciousness, and the body a tiny speck floating in the consciousness. So all the matter in the universe of innumerable forms is only many tiny spots floating in pure consciousness. When someone speaks, I know the sound comes from consciousness only. Though the body walks, etc., the power is of pure consciousness only. But consciousness is not affected by so-called action. So it can be said that such actions are taking place through the vehicles and the power, through the vehicles, and the power for such action is drawn from pure consciousness. So there is no ego anywhere. But each form takes upon itself the responsibility for such action and therefore the sense of doership with all the consequences. When such actions take place through this body, it is felt that the body, mind, intellect, and the senses are active only because of the self or consciousness is activating in them. When I see any person, I see him or her as the center of the universe, because any form we see is the center, has the infinite as its center everywhere and circumference nowhere. So some more thoughts again, no, about the real home.
What is real home refer to something? What is real home refer?
Real home is consciousness. Real home is the self. It can't be explained, we have to go, we have to take some, we have to be on the process. Consciousness, awareness, witness consciousness, all these are words. But to know the real meaning, I have to be on the process. If I am just satisfied with the hearing, spirituality is not for any debate. Spirituality is only for experience. Because words have got their limited role to play. But without words, we cannot start. So all the knowables, which God has given us, through that knowable, we are trying to get some idea about the unknowable. It can't be brought within the ambit of our words. So that is why everybody is struggling. So they say consciousness, awareness, self, stillness. Because how can we explain about stillness? The moment we the word stillness, we have not. Because stillness is something in experience. And the intellect, where there are no thoughts. When there are no thoughts, how can the explanation come? So all these things are helpful only to some extent. They are taking us to the shore. We have to take a leap, which is called the process. No doubt, to reach the shore, we need some guidance. But remaining at the shore, we will not be able to know. They are pointing it out to us, the other shore. They cannot take us. Nobody can take us. Only the sense of individuality has to take a plunge, leap. If it was possible, they would have already taken everybody, you know. A Shishya asked, Swamiji says, in page number 29, a Shishya asked the Guru for immediate realization. Guru Maharaj, I am aspiring for God, give me God realization. I want realization immediately. Guru takes the disciple to the river, asks him to dip his head in the water. When his head was in the water, the Guru presses the head down, with the result that the Shishya cannot raise his head and is getting suffocated. After a while, he is released. And when the Shishya raises his head, the Guru asked him, how did you feel? Shishya said, I was craving for air. I was becoming breathless. The Guru thereupon tells him, you must have such a strong desire for God. When living in the world, you must have such a strong desire for God when living in the world. If intense aspiration is there, realization is not far off. These are all the things which they can explain to us. Exclusive. Because the moment I am pressed, no other thought, you know. Only thought is to somehow get out of it. When somebody is passing through a massive heart attack or what do you call it, angina, we have seen them, gasping. No other thing can go and enter into their mind. When the corona was started, we were in the hospital. For a day, we were in the ICU also. We could see people are screaming. What for? Just for this oxygen. Screaming. No other thought will come. So God is telling us such type of aspiration should be there in you, then only you will be able to get me. Exclusive, nothing else. This can't be further explained by anybody. Crave for God. Do not forget that God is our... Somebody wanted to say?
Can you say like this?
Huh?
Thirst.
Thirst. Hunger. Anything you can put.
Like, for example, let's say somebody got fire on their head. You won't wait for the fire
Correct.
permission to come down.
Correct.
You rush to the water.
Nothing else will matter excepting that. That is the goal. So these are all some of the ways by which they have explained. But ultimately the plunge has to be, one has to take the plunge. One has to take the leap. So today Swamiji chose to point out in a simple language the real home, real home, real home. We try to understand that. Somehow I lost my way to my real home because of my long association with that which is not my home. And many a time I used to feel this is my real home. And when I go there, it is not my real home. Somebody else is there. Again I come back and again. In between I forget that I have to search for me. Again with kicks and knocks I find, I must somehow locate my real home. Again I try, but again I get preoccupied with so many things, I am drawn to so many things, and then again I forget. So if we keep on this mantra, real home, real home, real home, myself, my original nature, the core of my being, my real self. So hum. and one has to devise methods. Gurus have revealed their experience. It becomes mine only when I try that. I'm just hearing or being with him, it will not help me. But one thing is there, whenever aspiration becomes intense, he will facilitate to guide us and lead us. He will not simply, the moment we turn towards him, that is the only condition he attaches. If you are interested in my creation, go and have it. But if you are interested in me, then I will take it. If you are interested in my creation without seeing me as the creator, he allows us. Now slowly he is opening up and says, okay, it's all right, you are with my creation, but know that they are my creation. That will help you to turn towards me. If you see the creation as such, very difficult. Because the characteristics of the creation keeps you away from me. But if the same creation is attributed to me, Swamiji also says about the play of Maya. God uses his elusive power Maya to create this universe with all the names and forms, keeps it for some time, destroys it. It is with the power of Maya that the Lord is taking care of creation, preservation and destruction. By using that power, he appears as the innumerable forms, humans, animals, birds, creatures, plants, etc., and resides in every form. It is because of Maya we are able to see only the forms and not he who has become all. So everything in the universe appears as various objects, not as he. This is Maya's work. So now he at least made us know, Maya is working, and it has been in dominance for so many years. So that is why we find it difficult. So there is a pigeonhole, through which we can see the inside. Still we are unable to, Seeing through the pigeonhole is something like, the glimpse of the eternal. So first he makes us to have these glimpses. And then watches whether we are steadfast in getting stabilized. He aids when we show signs.
Swamiji,
Oh,
any touching experience during Swamiji's day? By
Very touching experience in Swamiji's days.
because Muktanandaji was someone taking care of Swamiji in his last days. When he had mukti.
we are unable to pinpoint
Hmm.
because there are so many.
But he has written on about Mataji and his relationship with her. And she was a guardian for him, and he was guided by her. So in that way, any experience?
We were drawn here with a different background.
Hmm.
Before that also, God made us to form so many concepts about spiritual journeys, spiritual heights. And he also facilitated us to be in close association with Puja Swamiji. And he gave us an opportunity to observe and be a part of many such things for 14 years. So whether he was dealing with administration, whether he was dealing with handling even a tiniest object, when he was dealing with devotees' problems, endless the guidance, the way in which he was giving. What we have been previously made to know, or what we saw in some Mahatma's life, we were seeing it again and again in him, and that repetitive observation helped us a lot to have some clarity on the ultimate goal to be scaled. In the normal parlance, we will say he is soft, he is attentive, care and concern for others, he is topmost in his life. All those things are there. That means everybody knows. And every time, even in provocative circumstances, he will never lose his temper. He used to lose temper very rarely. But it will be because of the certain behavior of some people, which affected the larger interest. When it comes to him, he will never lose the temper.
Yes.
Self-effacement was total, and he did not know what he wants, So that is, for example, he was having headache, you might be remembering. And Puja Mataji saw to it that at least in his room there is one AC. He had one problem also. When the AC is put on, he used to get these jerks often. So he used to avoid. During the extreme summer here, when we pass through his room to the room, through his bedroom to the place where he used to sit. So when we saw the AC, so we immediately went and told Swamiji, why not we switch on the AC? And immediately we said, not for you, Swamiji, it's for us. Oh, you use it. We said, when we come out and spend some time there, some soothing effect is there. Use it. I don't use it because of the jerk. So then we devised a method that we used to switch on and then switch off. Then after some time, Swamiji will come and rest. Such type of incidents are there. It can be in volumes. When the question of the care and concern for other comes, it is spontaneous, spontaneous in his reaction.
Sure.
So the otherness is not there. We were trying to find out for ourselves how we can emulate. It was all because, it is not because of a particular character, because he was very clear about the absence of otherness. Later on, when he started writing, he will not give us a lecture. He will only say this, okay, can we do this? Okay. And nothing will be initiated from him. When we go with a proposal, he will immediately encourage. Previously, we thought that was the way to bring out. No, it is not like that. He was taking it as if it is coming from consciousness itself. So he was not seeing the individual. That is why he was detached to everybody. He was affectionate to everybody, but detached. Initially, people have to see it, to know that, not academic exercise. How can you detach yourself at the same time you can be affectionate? It's a narrow wall, narrow thread. Cross this side, it becomes attachment. Cross this side, it becomes affection. So he was full of affection for everybody. At the same time, he was not attached to anybody.
Somebody, one small incident, shall I share with you? Kanhangad has narrated it to me. Shall I share the small incident? If you permit me, I will tell somebody, share with everybody.
Kannan Mama narrated an incident to him about Swamiji. Can he share now?
Okay. So long as it touches and kindles something in us. Not on the personal aspect. That's why we don't write anything about it, because ultimately what has become, we appreciate all those things and nothing happens to us. We read the biographies, we read the various things. What is happening to us? That is more important, Nice to read, nice to hear. But what happens to us? Whether we have been able to imbibe it. That is why today we thought of concentrating upon his teachings, The other thing, we have plenty to say. Because because he was well established in this absence of otherness, to him everything was original, spontaneous. It is not that he was as Siddhanji Maharaj said, he does not know even the scale to which he has reached, because even that is also not there for him. Even after hearing it openly, there was no change at all in his face, because he was we cannot say what it is. The purity has reached its pinnacle, no?
Yes.
Sure. So the individually, everybody, in Mataji's case also, everybody will have some stories. Then what happened,
Okay.
That is important. What happened to me? When we were working with the Jain, we used to, he was also a highly spiritually evolved soul. So, but when somebody says, he is such a Mahatma, he is doing this, immediately point blank, he will ask on his face, what is the use of telling he is doing this? What has happened to us? Have we been able to imbibe anything? Otherwise, it is only a talk. A talk which gives us some joy, no doubt. It is not that it does not give any negative vibration. It gives only a positive vibration, but it is short-lived. We are immediately after this, we will not be able to live up to. So something else has to be done, Those are all on the superficial plane. But we want something. How did he achieve? He achieved because of the absence of otherness. He got stabilized in the absence of otherness. That is why everything became spontaneous. Care and concern for others. Absolute care and concern for others. We appreciate the care and concern for others. What did he do when we took leave of him? What did he do when we came to ashram? All those things are every time. 15 days we used to go to Wayanad. After 15 days we come back. So many things are there. But we are trying to understand that it has come out. It has come out from a heart which is established in absence of otherness. That is why he was equal to everybody. His affection was there is no distinction. Because he was established in it. Everybody is equal, everybody's care is in his heart. Everybody has got a place in his heart.
Grateful, low communication.
Including a mosquito on his hand, He will do like this only, he will not do like this. Because the care and concern is there. Suppose we explain about that incident where he was doing this, we will all say, oh, wonderful, wonderful. But it has come from the absence of otherness. The consciousness about which he was taking. The real home which he was telling. So we are trying to get ourselves stabilized in that real home. Once in a way we can share the other one also, because that also gives us some joy. Just like achar in our, in our this thing. Once in a way you put it, not mere. Achar is not the whole thing in our family. Yes, you can share now.
No, sorry, I also feel very shy to say that. Not that you don't want to share it.
Because somebody asked me, why don't you write? We did not write because this is important. Whatever that had happened at the superficial level, people will be able to say, nice, nice, nice. That is why even on the centenary year, we thought of bringing out his own words. Because his words have come from the depth of his experience. We may not be able to understand it in one go, but reading it again and again and again will slowly lead. And of course, we were blessed to have his close association for a period of 14, 15 years and 3-4 years when he was not well. We used to come here from 64. At that time, we did not spend much time. We used to spend some time in Mataji's room only. And on our way back, we used to spend some time with Swamiji. And luckily, not a word about all these spiritual matters. So they gave us full freedom to come out in our own way. Both of them never asked us to follow any path. So then, when he facilitated that we should be here, then also never, not even for one instance, he has said, it should be, it should not be. So from there, the first lesson we learned was he wanted everyone to flower in their own way. That he could get because he was established in the absence of otherness. So this is every word, suppose you go through that, every experience, everybody would have got it. Just like when we think about Mataji, what comes out is absence of otherness, to a stranger as well as to a devotee who has been visiting. So we keep on. So let us all. They will be definitely happy if we move to the original source, rather than floating on the surface.
Suppose we are hearing the stories of Mahabharata, Ramayana, and all that, and that gives a happiness or inspiration to us at times.
Very nice.
So hearing these small incidents from the Mahan, what they can just speak in as well.
It will help us to some extent, not much. You see for ourselves, each one can look at ourselves, whether it has helped or not.
Chinmayanandaji explains everything through anecdotes only. All I have tried it. So in that way, anecdotes may help us.
It may help us. But if we stop with anecdote,
no.
We remember the anecdote, we share the anecdote.
Yes.
This is the risk involved, To know the sublime truth, anecdotes are far easier. That is what we found in In Quest of God.
Yes.
But then what happened to us? We have been associating with ashram for the past 40, 50, 60 years. And we must have been reading this In Quest of God. Or the moment...
Without our knowledge, he is there within us, each and everybody.
Then what happened to us? We went through the whole anecdotes. But we did not plunge deep into it. We were floating on the surface and say, wonderful book. What happened to me? Each one only knows whether they have been able to imbibe or not. We don't say people who would not have imbibed. They would have. They would have imbibed. But at the same time, each one, our job is only now, as serious spiritual aspirants who have been prompted to take up this in-depth study of IQG during the centenary year, to what extent we can go within and get ourselves stabilized in it. Because you all know Papa, Mataji and Swamiji. They were all getting frustrated that nobody lived up to what is expected. They have expressed it in clear-cut terms. What is the use of Mataji used to always say, Papa once he has bluntly said, who wants God realization? They want their sons to be educated, daughters to be given marriage, this and that, houses are to be built, vehicles are to be bought. In this mirror, who wants God realization? No? With my master, you can find that. And in gospel also he has mentioned. Mataji, everybody know how many times she has given us this left and right. And Swamiji very rarely gives. One incident I will share and stop. When we were in Krishnamurti Foundation in Chennai for 3 days, when we found the small book called Meditation by Krishnamurti, it was very inspiring, and the way in which it was brought out was very inspiring. So when we came back here, immediately the prompting came that we should bring out this inward journey, culling out certain portions from Papa's different books, and lot of space. After each, in every page, matter will be there, but lot of space will be there. It was an indirect point where we should do manana, not reading in one go. So that was somehow brought out. Swamiji was not well. Swamiji was not well because of the stroke he had. But he was hearing. And so we took a printout, came to Puja Swamiji's room in Sadhudam, next to our hall. And then Swamiji was sitting. So we told Swamiji, we had been to Chennai, we went to Krishnamurti Center. Have you met Krishnamurti? He said yes. When was it? He explained. And then said, we thought we would also, everybody will not be able to go through Papa's books exhaustively. And inward journey is a very important thing. There is no mention of inward journey anywhere, just like that. Probably it might enable people to think about inward journey, suppose at least the cover. So we were prompted to draft on those lines, the cover, and we culled out so many things. Shall I read it? Yes. So we read the whole thing. Slowly, Swamiji heard everything. And finally we asked Swamiji, should we print and give it as free distribution to people who are interested? Immediately I could see the face. In Tamil he said, Namma chayartha chayaro, useful ana useful aattum. Whether it is useful or not, we cannot say. Whatever we are prompted, we will do. The frustration, that nobody was taking it seriously. Everybody was floating. All of them are 24-carat devotees of God. It is not diluted. 24-carat. They have immense faith in Papa Mataji Swamiji, adoration, respect, attachment, everything is there. But what is needed is to go dive deep. So that we have seen, even that was probably this must have happened in 2006 or 7. 2006. This is the book.
Yes.
So when like this, every page will have a lot of space for enabling us to dwell upon it. So at least the title, otherwise we were just coming, joining in the Ram Nam chanting vocal and then going back. At least inward journey is a must for every sadhaka to go deep, which Papa has been highlighting. So then it becomes clear to us that unless and until we go deeper, it doesn't mean we are belittling the importance of our sentiments and emotional attachment to the masters. That is the first instrumental cause for us to get attached to them. First instrumental cause. But we should not stop there. No? Are we clear about it?
Yes, Swamiji.
Hari Om. Hari Om. It is not to wound anybody's sentiments. If it has done, I am extremely sorry. We did not mean that. We are telling the truth. Hari Om. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram.